right, guys, welcome to this episode on You Are Being Lied to about Bitcoin. What you need to know about the manipulation of information when it comes to cryptocurrency. Bitcoin's been around for a long time, since 2009, and it has picked up more traction in 2020. But still, we're in 2021, and not a lot of people know about it or what does it do. So there's a lot of miscommunication or misinformation, let me rephrase that, misinformation about what it's actually doing that is not in favor of the people. And we're going to go through these and see what you think. So we're going to start out with the misconception about energy that is being used to create Bitcoin. And here's a short little video.
A crazy thing to think about with respect to Bitcoin, depending on which estimate you look at, is it's expected that Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining will require to use as much energy in 2020 as we use today in the whole world for everything. About 38% of the electricity need to run the operation is just to cool the electronics. That's the thing we want to address. That's the system inefficiency in this case.
But we're then coming to a crossroads where we're going to need something new, something different to help maintain and reduce that energy footprint.
Back in 2000.
All right, so they're trying to say that Bitcoin mining, that it uses a lot of energy, that they're trying to be more green, okay? Here's an article on Bitcoin. China cracks down, isn't enough. Only a global effort can stop crypto's monstrous energy demand. All right. So they're trying to tell us that they're trying to crack down on, what that they're trying to save the world, I guess, by doing this, right? In an attempt to reduce Bitcoin environmental impact in China, the coal-dependent province of Inner Mongolia recently banned Bitcoin mining and set up a hotline to report suspected transgressors. But on average, mining just one Bitcoin per day requires $1.8 million investment in specialized equipment. Not true. But anyway, so it goes on and on about what they're trying to do to stop this. Research: Bitcoin consumes less than half the energy of the banking or gold industry. So we have a bunch of articles, and you can find them all over the internet. Here's another article that says banking system consumes 2 times more energy than Bitcoin, research says, right? According to Galaxy estimates, the annual energy usage of Bitcoin stands at 114, and that's terawatts hours, while the banking industry consumes over 260 terawatt hours each year. So banking system to print money is way more than what they do for Bitcoin. Here's an estimation of annual energy. So you get the banking system, it's way up here, and it breaks it down with ATM, bank branches, top 100 data centers, and all that stuff. And then you got mining for gold. It's also pretty high. And then Bitcoin, way down here. So why is the media, or the mainstream media, trying to make it look like this is causing, such a bad thing when printing money's been around for the longest time? And no one seems to talk about that. Bitcoin is using half the electricity as your bank, and there's a 19x more loss in transmission yearly. So there's a lot more energy being wasted printing money than it is to do Bitcoin. So the numbers of Galaxy Digital says banking system consumes 263 terawatt hours of power, while gold mining uses 240 terawatt hours. The Bitcoin network, 113. Interesting. So who actually is profiting from all this? Bitcoin mining in China, right? It is estimated that China is the undisputed world leader in Bitcoin mining. So if we break it down, they control like 65% of the mining capacity for Bitcoin. United States is 7, and here's all the other countries. So if they have such a huge thing, why are they so concerned with the rest of the world trying to control the Bitcoin? I guess they don't like competition, huh? That's just me saying. Mining maximization. Which countries thrive on Bitcoin mining? this down here. China, when it comes to mining Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, China truly is the beast of the East, of the Far East. Cheap electricity is readily available, with some power companies rumored to be pointing their excess energy towards Bitcoin mining facilities in order to avoid waste. China is home to many of the world's biggest mining pools, which consist of the large groups of miners who pool resources and share processing power. The abundance of cheap labor and the tech-savvy individuals only adds to China's suitability. So here's the thing. So if you have a power company that's actually sending electricity to these miners, the government must be pretty inefficient if they can't track them down. Because it doesn't make any sense to me that you have something that's illegal, but yet the power company is giving you the excess power so you don't waste electricity. So which one is it? See, it's like it's not the government that they're stopping mining. Is that they don't want the smaller people to stop mining. So they're keeping it away from the hands of the people. Why China cracks down on Bitcoin? Let's see. China just cracked down on privately mined cryptocurrencies. See, that's the key word, privately mined. They don't want the people to have any access to it. And here's going to be the million-dollar question. Why? Which we're going to get to. China bans financial payment institutions from cryptocurrency businesses. So no institution can do any transactions when it comes to Bitcoin. You know, they're banning that, or they banned it. They banned it and unbanned it. They banned it and unbanned it. They go back and forth on that. All right. Now, this works great over there, but for us here in the United States and other countries that are a little bit more free, they have to use different tactics. Like they have to call it a Ponzi scheme, for example, like what these guys say.
Let's bring in Maciej Czagłowski. You may know him as Pinboard on the internet. Maciej, good morning. Lay out your bear case for cryptos for our audience.
My bear case is that it's a giant pyramid scheme, and people are getting sucked into it. Unfortunately, it's a pyramid scheme that has a core of true believers and a core of people who are really fascinated by a technology. So it becomes difficult. It also has a group of very smart investors and all kinds of people who are heavily pouring money into it. So it becomes difficult to call it out, but I think it is very necessary to call it out because in the end, like every pyramid scheme, people are going to get hurt.
All right. So that's what he says. Now here's another article about Ponzi scheme.
One of the things that people are doing in terms of structuring their portfolio, given the amount of debt that's been taken on, is people have been buying up cryptocurrencies, maybe not in the last week or two, but clearly over the past several months. I have seen you take to Twitter and call this everything from a failed currency to an open Ponzi scheme.
It has characteristics of an open Ponzi. In other words, everybody knows it's a Ponzi. Basically, there's no connection between inflation and Bitcoin. None. Okay? I mean, you can have hyperinflation and Bitcoin going to zero. There's no link between them. It's a beautifully set up cryptographic system. It's well made, but there's absolutely no reason it should be linked to anything economic. If you want to hedge against inflation, buy a piece of land, grow, I don't know, olives on it. You'll have olive oil. If the price collapses, you'll have something. But for Bitcoin, there's no connection. And of course, the best strategy for an investor is to own things that produce yields in the future.
Okay, so inflation. You know, as he said the word inflation, they can't control inflation with Bitcoin. They'd rather you just go buy some land and grow some olives or something. The small people, that's how they run things. But I haven't heard anybody out there that says that inflation's ever been good. I've never heard anyone ever talked about how inflation actually, it's a good thing for the economy. Inflation has always been bad for us, so how inflation erodes the value of your money. It feels, here, it's a pretty good article. It says, if it feels like your dollar doesn't go quite as far as it used to, you aren't imagining it. The reason is inflation, which describes the gradual rise in prices and slow decline in purchasing power of your dollar over time. The impact of inflation may seem small in the short term, but over the course of years and decades, inflation can drastically erode the purchasing power of your savings. Here's how to understand inflation and steps and you can take to protect your value of your money. And it goes through the thing part of an article. So why is it that the gentleman just said that there's no link with inflation with Bitcoin? They can't control it because they want to put inflation into your life. That is just, it's like they're trying to convince you that you don't need two pairs of shoes, or you just only need one pair on your right foot, but you don't need one on your left foot. It doesn't make sense, but yet they're trying to convince you that this is the right way of living. I don't. Charles Hoskinson had a great comment about what people really are looking for. And this is the majority. You're not alone in how you feel. And he really has a good concept and understands what's really going on. This is why he built Cardano. And it's one of the things that he's using in the cryptocurrency to help people. This isn't what he says.
People want things better, faster, cheaper. People want to have economic agency, especially when they lack it. Nobody wants to grow up in a world where they're unbanked and they have no access to marketplaces. They're going to seek it. Look at M-Pesa. It's the great example of that. Like cell phone minutes, they're using it as a currency. So that's where we're at. And I say a few more years, I think we'll have that right minimum viable set of dynamics inside the system. And then it's inevitable, in my view, that it'll kind of grow and consume and become this concept. And what's really cool is there's competition in the systems and concepts. So China is trying to do the same thing. They're saying, how do we de-dollarize the world and create a digital yuan? So they have a very top-down notion of how to apply this technology and bring it in. And they even have an identity system they're building in parallel called social credit. We have an identity system, Atala Prism, that we're putting in. Ours is bottom-up, and you own your own identity. Social credit, you have no idea. You just have a number, and some computer's giving it to you. But they're both trying to do the exact same thing. And it's going to be this clash of cultures at some point between the open fosses and the top-down authoritarian fosses, and probably some Hegelian dialectic action will happen. And we'll create, some sort of somewhat closed, somewhat authoritarian, libertarian utopia.
Yeah, no, most likely.
All right. So, there's always going to be people that want to try to control things. All right. So, if it is so bad, what is it that the banks are doing? So feeling the heat from employees, Wall Street banks get closer to adopting Bitcoin. All right, so this one came out in February 2021. We're over here. Next article. Bitcoin is coming to hundreds of U.S. banks this year, says crypto custody firm New York Dig. This is CNBC. This one came out in May of 2021. So if it's a Ponzi scheme, if it's bad for the environment, if it's all these bad things that they're saying, then why is it that the banking system is adopting it? Three banks that have big plans for blockchain and cryptocurrency. You got Silvergate Capital, one of the banks right there, Signature Bank, JP Morgan Chase are one of the three banks that are going to be, planning, adding cryptocurrency to their stuff. The Daily Huddle. Crypto whales just bought 2.8 million, well, it's actually 2 billion, right? $2.8 billion in Bitcoin, according to Chain Analysis. There's a cool thing about Chain Analysis, if you guys look it up. They keep track of everything that goes on. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, is on the internet for everybody to see. So no one can hide it. So money leaves the exchanges and it goes into wallets or goes back to the exchanges because someone sold it. It actually shows up. So there's a lot of money that are being bought into the Bitcoin. Bitcoin whales who sold at 58,000 has reaccumulated 3,521 Bitcoins. So they sold it and they bought it right back again. Money. It's all about money and power. But yet they want to convince you that is bad. Bitcoin hits another record. Here's how much you have if you invested $100 in 2009. All right, so here's the value of the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency in exchange. We're calling it Bitcoin because that's the first one. But if you find a company that you like and you invest in it, here's an article of like what happened if in 2009 you would have invested $100. Okay, so if I can find it real fast. I missed it. Oops. Sorry, guys. I missed that one. Where is it? million gains. Say you got into the game when the Bitcoin was 10 cents, around in 2010. If you invested $100, you have been able to buy about 1,000 Bitcoins. At an all-time high Thursday, those 1,000 Bitcoin would have been worth more than $48 million, not accounting for compounding and assuring or you bought or held the assets the entire time. So if there was no change and you just kept that money in there, your $100 investment would have turned into $48 million. Now, that's cryptocurrency. Now, money in the bank is a whole different story. We go back to the same article as before, how inflation erodes the value of your money. It's the whole different story. Inflation occurs when prices rise, decreasing the purchasing power of your dollar. In 1980, for example, a movie ticket cost an average of $2.89. By 2019, the average price of a movie ticket has risen to $9.60. If you save $10 from 1980, it would have bought you 2 less tickets in 2019 than the prior year. So the holding money in the bank, the fiat money, the value goes down. Where cryptocurrency, you put money in, you buy it, the value goes up. This is why they're trying to keep you away from it, because it has a lot of power. Now, countries have seen this, countries that have been suffering for a very long time with this problem, with people being poor. El Salvador looks to become the world's first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. So they're going the direction. Now we're moving to countries doing this. Africa is leading global cryptocurrency adoption, Paxful CEO. So Paxful CEO Ray Youssef said all eyes should be on Africa right now because they're doing a lot of great things over there, trying to get cryptocurrency to the people so they can start buying and stuff and having identity. Alright guys, so this is all I have for you guys right now. Now hopefully you have enough information to understand cryptocurrency, and is it something that is good for the people or is bad, because it was created to give power back to the people. So the people have a voice and a few stop controlling the many. Alright guys, I'll see you guys in the training room.